My friend, we're going to be playing Over the River and Through the Woods. This isn't the key of C major, but we've got a time signature of 6/8, which is wonderful. What does that mean? It means when we're playing C major, D minor, E minor, F major, G major, A minor, B diminished, and then C. That means that when we're playing those possible 7 out of the diatonic C major, that we're going to be playing in 6/8, meaning 6 beats per measure. And instead of playing just downstrokes for quarter notes, we're going to be expressing ourselves through down and up, 8th notes. If you haven't already figured it out, the hardest part on your hand is the callus and the calcium-filled fingernails. So what we're going to do is we're going to use those to go down, and then the back of our thumb to go up. It's going to look kind of like this. It's kind of what I do to over-exaggerate it. However, it goes really quick. You don't even think about it, really. So when you practice this, the only chords we're going to be playing for this are C major and F major. So that's the major 1, the major 4. And then we're going to take that 5 chord, the G, and we're going to turn it into the a B diminished, or the G7. We're going to call it a G7, but remember, it's the same as your B diminished here. And then you could also play this kind of F major, and then the B minor 7 is when you close your finger over the whole 2nd fret, and then your 2nd finger can go over the top. Now remember, if you're playing this mechanism, you can use it with all of your fingers, and if you practice getting good at this, you get really good at moving your bar chord fingers around. It kind of feels like a B7, but it's all the way up top. Awesomeness. So for this song, we're just going to be using those. The 1 chord, the 4 chord, the 7 chord, but we're going to call it a 5 dominant or a 5/7 chord, and then we're going to be using a chord from another key. We're going to be using the F sharp diminished or the D7. You could also play it like this if you like, just on the G string and then the E string. Right on. So starting off, we have C. We're going to be doing down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. And then the feeling we're going to have is da 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 da. So the feeling is going da 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 da, and those are considered something called tied together 8th notes, or we could call them triplets. We're going to have 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, if we're counting in 8th notes. But if we go quick, we just go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and in our head. Most likely just thinking da 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 da. So when we go through the process of seeing the C major going to the F, we're floating back and forth. You can also leave that C in there and play just the F, because when playing in F major, F, G, A, B flat, and C, the triad made from that is an F, A, C. Therefore, you don't have to worry about it. The next chord we're going to be going to is the G7 after the C, and then back to the C. One thing I like to do is play the G7 with the B diminished and put a pinky down for the C so it's quick to move to it. I could also put my fingers right back for that because I'm not using them playing that. And if I ever want to just play a C, I could always do that again. Or heck, any of the fingers. I just think it feels a lot more comfortable to have our 3rd finger on the 3rd fret. So from the top, we're going to have C, F, back to C, G7, back to C, D7, and then to G7. It's going to start the whole thing over again with C major and have F to G7 and then C. They share a measure. So when we have that over the rivers and through the woods, how the windows blow, these next chords are quick, 2 chords per measure. F shares with G7, C shares with D7, C then with G7, back to C. See how I pivoted my fingers? F then to G7, C, yeah, to D7, C7, G7, C, G7, C. I hope that made a little bit of sense, and if it didn't, ask questions in the comment section. I'll get back to you. Aloha.